welcome back to my channel. I'm excited for today's video. We are going to be doing another declutter. I like to do declutters on my channel about every 6 weeks or so. Usually I'll just like set products aside if I decide I no longer want them in my collection, and then when I accumulate enough, I share them with you guys. I certainly never buy makeup with the intent to declutter it. Obviously I'm buying products that I hope that I will like, but I feel like especially this year my makeup preferences have changed quite significantly. I've been really enjoying cream products a lot more, and my makeup collection has grown quite a bit. You guys will have seen in my most recent makeup inventory, so I'm starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed by my collection, and it's definitely time to get rid of some products. So I have quite the bundle of products that I will be decluttering today to share with you. Many of them lip products, but I do have a couple of highlights, a blush, a primer, and some brushes. So if you guys are interested in seeing what I will be passing along, stay tuned. First, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll consider doing so before you leave today. I do post a minimum of 4 times a week, so if that's something that interests you, then don't forget to subscribe before moving on. And other than that, let's just get into this declutter. All right, guys, I think I'm going to start with brushes. I do have 4 brushes that I will be getting rid of. It doesn't seem like a lot, and I still feel a little bit overwhelmed by my brush collection. I do this thing with my brushes where it's kind of like when you go on vacation or when you're trying to like get rid of clothes. I'll like look at a brush just like I would a shirt, and I'll be like, well, I don't use it that often. I don't wear it that often. I'm trying to show you my comparison, but I know that there's going to be that one time that I really want a brush like that, or I know that there's going to be that one time I really want to wear the shirt. So I keep stuff around for that reason, and I need to get better about that. But there are just brushes I'm not ready to part with. I need to like really dive deep inside me to figure out what I can get rid of in my brush collection. But these 4 I know I can get rid of. So first I have this blush brush from Sonia Kashuk. I actually have a different blush brush from her that is very similar. This one I just don't love. It's almost like the bristles are almost just too soft, and I feel like it just doesn't apply blush. It's not my favorite blush brush in my collection, and I have plenty of others, so I'm going to get rid of that. This powder brush from Billion Dollar Brows I got in a BoxyCharm, and I just do not care for this at all. Again, it's almost like the bristles are too soft. They just don't like grip anything. I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but sorry. I'm only getting rid of 3 brushes. I pulled this brush out from a thing that was in my closet because I want to add this to my everyday brush cup. I'm just gonna leave that right there. Okay. This is the 3rd brush I'm getting rid of. This is from Luxie, and this is their mini flat angled brush. I don't know. I just feel like I don't really have a use for this. The way that I apply my makeup, this is just not something that I have ever reached for. It's been in my collection for quite some time, and so I don't anticipate I will find a need for it. So I'm going to be getting rid of that. All right, I have a lot of lip products, as I feel like I always do. So I'm going to go into my lip products next, just because we'll save the like more fun stuff for last. So I have 2 full, I'm trying to get the other one, 2 full handfuls of lip products that I'm going to be parting with. I have so many lip products, and I found that I really just like, lately I love a good lip oil, but I also love a good lip balm and lip gloss. So those are my go-tos. I also like a nice comforting or like comfortable lipstick. Liquid lipsticks, just really not my preference anymore. So I still have my Dose of Colors collection and some other liquid lipstick formulas here and there. I'm wearing Dose of Colors Bittersweet today, in case you were wondering. But I'm going to be getting rid of quite a few liquid lipsticks, so let's jump into those first. So I ended up swatching a bunch of my liquid lipsticks side by side, and if 2 of them were pretty similar, I kept one in the formula that I liked the best, just because, again, I'm not even reaching for liquid lipsticks that often, so I really only need one of each color, not like duplicate shades. So I'm going to be getting rid of this one from Koki. This is their Kissable Liquid Lipstick, and I have mine in the shade Mad About Mauve. I'm not going to swatch these on my hands, you guys, because I already have been doing that all morning, and I finally got most of it to wipe away, and I just don't feel like scrubbing liquid lipstick swatches off of my hand again. I do have a shade very similar to this in a different formula. I can't remember which one specifically, but I am ready to part with this. I'm also going to be getting rid of this one from Real Her. This one is in the shade Lady Love, and it's this deeper red shade, but it's not like that vampy deep red shade. It's like between a vampy deep red and then like a true like all-American blue toned red. And honestly, I would like either one or the other. Like if I'm going for like a true red, I want it to be that true vibrant blue toned red. And if I'm going for a more vampy look, then I want like a true deeper brown sort of red. And then I also have some other Dose of Colors liquid lipsticks in shades of red that I enjoy. So I just never reach for this one. So I'm going to pass that one along. I have two from Jeffree Star that I'm going to be getting rid of. I'm almost embarrassed that I've even purchased from Jeffree Star at all. I just do not stand for him. I am embarrassed that I have been like fooled a little bit by some of the like things. Like when I watched the Shane and Jeffree docuseries, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jeffree Star is like really getting together. He's this amazing businessman, which I mean, he is an amazing business person, obviously very successful, but I just don't support him or his brand. So I'm getting rid of these two liquid lipsticks. I have this one in Designer Blood. I have a similar shade to this. I do have two that I'm keeping from Jeffree Star. I already have spent the money, so I don't want everything to go to waste, but this is very old. I think this is from like the 2016 or 17 holiday collection, so I'm sure it's expired. And then also this one in Rose Madder. I just don't wear pink shades like this, so I'll be getting rid of that. I also have this one from The Balm. This is in the shade Charming. I actually do really like the Balm liquid lipstick formula, but this is really, really old, and I have a shade very similar to this in a different formula that is much newer in my collection, so I'm ready to part with that. Also, this one from L'Oreal. This is their Infallible Pro Matte Gloss. I purchased this years ago and haven't worn it once, so that tells me I don't need it. Plus like a matte gloss, like I don't, that just seems weird, so I'll be skipping that, or I'll be passing that along. I'm also going to get rid of this little mini Ciate London glitter flip. I just don't like to wear glitter on my lips unless it's like a gloss. It just doesn't seem like a formula I'm going to like, and I've had this for a while and haven't used it, so I don't need it. I'm also going to get rid of this from Clarins. This is their Lip Comfort Oil Intense. So this is more like a lip stain. I will actually swatch this one for you. This is really, really pigmented. And because it's so pigmented, it does tend to bleed. So it's almost like you just can't trust this. I really like... I have it up here. I really, really like the lip comfort oil from Clarins. I have mine in the shade Candy, and this is something that I will absolutely repurchase, and I want to purchase more shades in. I don't know if you guys can see, I've had this for maybe 6 weeks, and I've used quite a bit of this, but this just not my favorite in terms of being such a deep shade. It just makes me nervous that this is going to transfer and just like do me dirty, so I'm going to get rid of this. I also have this lippy lingerie from Tarte. I'll swatch this for you guys as well. I've gotten rid of most of mine in this formula. I have one left. This is just not a shade I wear. I don't think I've ever put this shade on my lips, so I do not need it. I also have this Cloud Lips from, I don't even know what brand. This is just not a formula I would go for, and the shade is just not, it's like almost too much of a pinky red. So I do not need that. I recently reviewed this. This is the Sephora Lip Stories lipstick in their satin cream formula. I have mine in the shade 36, which I think is called Spring Break. I don't know. There's so many different names on this. I'm just not sure. So this is just, so I do like the shade actually. I think it's pretty, but because it is more of a mid-toned shade and it's so creamy. I found that it would bleed outside my lip lines a lot and it just wasn't a formula that worked well for me. I would be interested in trying a matte version of this. I think they have a matte version. I think that would work better for me. This was just too creamy, so yeah. I also have this Bite Mini in the shade Chai. My dog got a hold of this, so even if I liked it, I would declutter it anyway. And then this one from MAC. This is one of their lip lusters in the shade Lustering. I actually have 2 of these, but I don't know if you guys will be able to see. It's super disgusting. This has gone bad. It's growing like a white stuff on the side. It is really gross. I'm sure that's mold. So that's a bummer. And that's proof that I should stop buying so much and try and get through what I actually have. But this is also just a shade that I don't wear that often. So this is going in the garbage can. And then finally for lips, I have this one from Fenty. This is one of her Mademoiselle lipsticks. This is very matte. And it's just in a shade that I'm not going to wear. I got this in a BoxyCharm. I never am going to wear this deep brown shade. It's just not my personal makeup preferences, so I will pass this along to someone who will get use out of it. So that is it for lips. I just have a few more products to share with you guys. I am getting rid of this primer. This one is from Clarins. It's their SOS primer. I have mine in the shade 00 Universal Light. This is an okay primer. It's fine, but it's just not something that makes me want to reach for it over any of my other primers, and I feel like anytime I'm reaching for this, I'm forcing myself to reach for it. I have so many primers in my collection and I love testing new primers that it's just not worth keeping this in my collection if I would rather be using my other primers. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I also am going to be getting rid of this from NARS. This is their Sheer Glow foundation. If this wasn't so expensive, I would be interested in trying this in a shade that I feel like would better suit me. I went with the shade Light 3, and this is just too light for me. For some reason, I really struggle to match myself to NARS foundations. I had the like Naturally Radiant foundation as well, and that was a horrible shade match for me. I did not like that foundation anyway. I know so many people like that one, but I did not. This one is an okay foundation. I feel like part of me is judging it because of the actual shade just being so light for me, but this just isn't working for me. I've tried manipulating this and mixing it with other foundations, and I just am not loving it. So I have plenty of foundations in my collection. I think this actually would be a beautiful match on my sister, so I'm going to see if she wants to take this off my hands for me. I'm also going to toss this little mini Stila in the shade Stylish. I swear this came to me dried out. Well, actually no, it's not even really dried out. Maybe I'll see if I can pass this along to someone, but I really like Stila Perlina. I think there's something very special about that glitter and glow, but aside from that, I just will not purchase these anymore because they dry out so quickly, and I just do not think that they're worth it. So I'm going to pass this along because I would much rather reach for Perlina over this when I'm reaching for a Stila glitter and glow, so that can go. For blush, I should be getting rid of more blush than I am. I only have one that I'm going to be decluttering today. If you caught my makeup inventory, which I will leave linked down below, I have brought a lot of blush into my collection this year, but I am going to finally say goodbye to this one from Laura Geller. This is in the shade Tropic Hues. I don't know the status of Laura Geller. I don't believe they're in Ulta's anymore, and I don't know what products they carry anymore. I don't know what the deal is with them. And I really love this formula, but this shade is just a little bit more pinky than I typically reach for. I usually like more of a nude or neutral blush or a really coral blush. That's just my personal preference, and I have other pink blushes that I prefer or would reach for over this. So I just haven't shown this blush much love this year, and I think I am ready to finally let this go. I alluded to this in one of my previous whole collection project pans, but I am going to be decluttering this one from the Balm. This is their bronzer blush in the shade Balm Desert. This just doesn't work for me as a bronzer. It's just not the right tone for me, and there are so many other bronzers in my collection I would rather reach for over this. This is another one where it just feels like I'm forcing myself to reach for it, and that's not the point of makeup. I would much rather pass this along to someone who is going to enjoy using it and allow myself the freedom to choose other bronzers that I would much rather be using. And then finally, I feel like this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I am going to be getting rid of my Ofra highlights. And the reason being, I just don't typically reach for a highlight that is quite this intense. And both of the ones that I own, I also feel like are very icy. So I own the shade Pillow Talk, and I believe I got this in a subscription box, which is why it's in like the pretty cheap packaging. It's not the new Ofra packaging. There it is swatched right there, and I just feel like it's a little bit too icy, and it is so intense, and it's just not my personal preference when it comes to highlights. I still think it is a great formula, and I know that there are so many people who love the Ofra highlights. I just don't particularly care for them because they're so blinding. And then Pillow Talk, I do really like, but I swatched this against all of my other pink highlighters, and this one is by far the iciest and also the most intense. And I feel like it's tough because I just don't love a super icy highlight on me. I feel like it can make me look like the rest of my makeup is just muddy, and I just don't love the look that it gives. I much prefer a more warm toned pink highlight. I do still have some icier pink highlights in my collection, but they're just not quite as intense as this, so it's not quite so stark on the cheek. So this one's a little bit painful, but I am finally going to say goodbye to both of my Ofra highlights. I almost forgot to mention, I actually am going to be decluttering a palette as well. Normally I would wait until like my quarterly palette update, but I just filmed that, and I just decided I also want to get rid of this one as well. So this is from Studio Makeup on the Go. It is their Cool Down palette, and I had been keeping this palette around just because there were a couple of shades that I really enjoyed from this palette, but I also felt like I just wasn't getting the use that I wanted to from this palette. So I decided to depot the shades that I wanted and put them in a Z palette, and then I'm going to be decluttering the rest. So I'm going to be getting rid of this as well. But after that, that is going to conclude today's video. Those are all the products that I'm getting rid of. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Have you recently decluttered anything? Are some of the things I decluttered possible favorites of yours? I love hearing from you guys. As always, thank you so much for sticking around to watch and for supporting my channel. I hope you are having an absolutely amazing day, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!